This episode is brought to you by 180 Markets, where it is our goal to bring every individual, fund manager, family office, or any qualified investor access to Australian Stock Exchange capital raises. If you are ever interested in how to access ASX capital raises in a super simple way, 180 Markets is for you. The sign-up process is easy. You just upload your ID, proof of your investor status, and your current brokerage account information. The settlement of shares goes right into your existing account, and you can access our very next capital raise. If you're interested in free, easy access to thousands of ASX capital raises, including placements, IPOs, reverse takeovers, and more, check out 180markets.com.au. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of 18 Minutes with 180 Markets. Investors, friends, Australia at heart, we are explorers in the commodity space, especially gold. We've looked everywhere, and we seemingly have found everything. But with us today, we have Peter Schwann of Aruma Resources, and he's going to tell us why, even though we think we've found a lot of gold here in Australia, there's going to be more gold found in the next 10 years than there has been in the previous 2 centuries. Anyway, with that introduction, Peter, welcome to 18 Minutes with 180 Markets.
Thank you, Greg.
Peter, everybody's got a story, and you've got a great story and a lot of history. Can you just tell us a little bit about your background, please?
My background, I've been working in geology for over 50 years, excuse me, and I started my career working underwater with looking for seagrass fibre in South Australia, diving with sharks, and then I went to Western Mining Corporation, that great incubator of geologists, mining engineers. And what we had there was my first supervisor was a chap called Nick Georgetta, and Nick's a fairly good chemist and not a bad businessman. The net result was he taught me chemical geology. He taught me to use mineral names as algorithms for chemistry. And that's been the basis of my career. And I then took that chemical geology into nickel laterites. Then in 1980, I went to Mount Newman Mining after doing a mud engineering course. So my clays are pretty strong. My chemistry's getting stronger. I understood concreting. Went to Newman. At Newman, I was involved in exploration, and I was involved in the premature detonation study, which was further chemistry, oxidation chemistry of shales, almost involved with getting my head blown off with 3.5 tonne of explosives. Came back to Kalgoorlie, almost went to Octedi, and in Kalgoorlie, trying to understand gold mineralogy, there I was at the age of 35, 34, and all of the university theories on gold was too complex, too hard. And I am what's called a dumb geologist. I like everything simple. So I wanted to find out a way that I could identify gold mineralisation using the most powerful tools we've got in the industry, which is a pair of eyeballs. And using those eyeballs and noticing what was happening, talking to old timers, talking to prospectors, how they used to find gold, all of this put me on the career path now that gold is found in sediments, very reactive sediments, probably volcanic ash, and that hosts everything you require to build gold. It's got large amount of water in it. It's about 40% water. So you've got all this reactive rock, you've got all this beautiful water, it's seawater, it's got all the dissolving agents like chlorine and sulfur and everything in it, potassium, and it gets cooked up and it dissolves out whatever you like or everything. And that then, because it all dissolves out at a high temperature, is then transported up. It stops being a chloride, becomes a bisulfide. And then that's why you always get gold associated with carbonates and sulfides. Everybody thinks quartz is the be-all and end-all. Quartz is the last kid on the block. Quartz is like the water in an icy pole. We don't like that. So it's very, very simple. And I taught grade control. I taught how people should use their eyes. And all the theory that I use and the chemistry that I use is visible to you and to me and to anybody else that will look.
And why do you think, it's a big statement that we'll find more gold in the next 10 years, considering how well we've done already. And then I suppose also bringing it back to the fact that you don't even necessarily feel like it's a question of modernized equipment. It's a question of using our eyes and our brains better. What makes you confident that we will find so much gold in Australia over the coming years?
Because the rocks we're looking in now, the sediments, were always unfashionable rocks. And if you think about the great explorers, have a look at Kirkland Lake, have a look at Friedland. The best place to find big deposits is in terrains and rock types that are not fashionable. Gold was always thought to be in the gold mold dolerite and the various other dolerites. Now, if you go to places like Muruntau 60 years ago was just a little hill. Muruntau means turquoise hill, same as old Tolgoi. And Muruntau is three-quarters what Western Australia has done it in 60 years. So I think that all of these black flag beds, all these sedimentary shale beds, they are so prospective, and we can find gold here in these rocks. And the proof of the pudding is you have a look at Hemi, fantastic. You have a look at Kambalda, invincible. You have a look at what's happening with Norseman. You look around Telfer. You look in the Musgraves. You go to the Lachlan Fold Belt, or if you really want some fantastic stuff, you go to Victoria and have a look at the Schwann lode. And, for all of this area to be opened up, and I mean millions of square kilometres, Australia is it's just a beautiful place to explore. We've got people that understand mining. We haven't got too many impediments. We're getting more as we get older, but we can still work around even with problems that pop up every time, red tape, green tape, all the rest. And I just think that, and the gold we're finding is gold that's at the surface. You have a look what's happening in Western Australia and have a look at our best discoverer, Mr. Creasy. Now, Mark is not a superman. Mark is what I term a good dumb prospector. He looks for the signs, and he looks for the signs probably better. Nova, it wasn't found by geophysics, it was found by geochemistry. Have a look out at Tropicana. It was found by geochemistry. All of our simple tools. We don't have to drill to the centre of the earth. Have a look at all of these discoveries just in the last few weeks. The nickel discoveries, the gold discoveries. None of them are at the centre of the earth, with the possibility of the deep holes that they're drilling with the rover deposits for Castile. So all of these deposits, you can find them by going into new areas, or you can get an old, very rich gold mine like, let's say, Bellevue, and you can look for repeated lode positions. So I think Bellevue was at 1 million ounce. I think Bellevue is going to go to about 6. I can name a lot of other deposits. You can have a look at the work that Westgold's doing. They are rejuvenating old mines. Old mines don't die, they just get bigger and deeper.
Right. And speaking of mines, and the whole market, maybe bring it in a little bit more to where is Aruma and where are your projects?
Right. Let's go back to March. March was a very huge month in the world. We had COVID hit. Most of the geologists and miners stayed home. They were in lockdown and they started eating, and some of them actually started using their computers. I hopped into the West Australian and the New South Wales mining information systems, Tengraph Web in WA and MineView. I've been looking in the Pilbara. Hemi and Malina were very popular, and a friend of mine was working up there. So where do we find these big deposits? Now, all of the experts like Groves, David Groves and co. You have to look for crustal sutures. That's where you get the big water flows coming out of these reactive sediments full of seawater. And the Malina is the Hemi's on the Malina. There's the Lullarook. That's in the north part of the Pilbara in the Hamersley Basin. What's wrong with the south part of the Hamersley Basin? Have we got some gold mines around there? I think Bill Beeman and Northern Star would say that Paulson's is pretty good. And I think Kalamazoo will say that a couple of million ounces down there at Mount Olympus is pretty good. So I looked along that belt and I saw that they were finding some little nuggets down around saltwater. So I pegged saltwater and then I did the investigation on the government IT site. And bang, there's all this old Turi Creek uranium deposit results. And the chemistry indicated with assays that they had gold there, they had silver there, bismuth, all of the indicators of hydrothermal gold on the Nandjalgardi fault, which hosts Paulson's and Mount Olympus. So we got the structures, we got the sediments, we got the known mineralisation, we have got the fluid flow, and we've got granites. So we've got all of the conditions that are required to generate large multi-million ounce gold deposits. And we've got blocks, 200 squares, 200 square metres, square kilometres we've got 216 at Melrose, which is around Paulson's, 736 have granted and now approved to go exploring the POW probably next week or the week after. Drill rig, well, that's another story in the current market, but so we've got those two, known gold, good prospects, leases being granted, ability to drill, friendly farmers.
And that'll be, sorry to interrupt, but and we'll start drilling there plus or minus in the next couple of months, would you say?
Absolutely. I went around and tried bribery, threats, and being nice to all the drillers in Kalgoorlie on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Yeah.
And we've got two of the best drilling companies in WA as major shareholders in us. So the latest we'll get a drill rig is early next year. I hope to get one in November. We hope to get drilling it earlier, but we had a bit of a problem gaining access. We've solved those problems, and that's just what you have to do, solve the problems. The access is being done by the local station owner. We have to get across a rather large creek crossing. That's being fixed. We've got the access in, we've got the roads in, we've got the drill sites ready to go. And we've got all 8 leases now granted. Fantastic. And some of those leases were only pegged 2 months ago. So that's good. The work, we've got walk-up drill targets at Melrose. We've got Gossan Hill. We've got where it's got this boundary mineralisation. We've got 20 to 30 metres of 0.3 grams per tonne. It's the carbonate alteration around the central core, which is a sulphide. Then the other lease in Western Australia is down at just south of Norseman, near the town of Grass Patch. Now that was picked up after the discovery of the new Panda system at Scotia by Pantoro. Okay. And I looked for some leases, bang, there was the extension, the southern end of the Wiluna Norseman belt, and there was the Beatty gold mine just to the north of it on the northern boundary, which produced 3,600 ounces of 24 grams. So they're the quartz veins, and they're the ones that Joe Blow and Fred can mine. They make 3,000 ounces over a year. We're looking for the lode or the Carlin style. And we know we've got sediments there. We know we've got quartz veins there. The rumour is some of the farmers' fathers found gold there, and it's only had a few holes drilled for nickel. There's a big arsenic anomaly. So we've got the structures, we've got the granites, we've got the rock types, and we've got the gold indicators.
Right, because you were saying that the things you look for are active sediments, major structures, granite nearby, reactive sediments, and history of gold occurrences. Is that right?
Yes.
Right.
So you need the. It's like baking a cake. You need the flour, you need the water, you need the butter, you need the oven. Stick it all in there, and off you go.
And that's what you have amongst all your that those are obviously the must-haves in your opinion.
Oh, they're absolutely mandatory. You can have everything set up and all the conditions but if you haven't got the right depths, the right conditions, a lot of these, sometimes you'll find these deposits, but the deposits were formed deeper and you're just getting the blank gravy or water coming out the top. My major point is let's look for the sediments. Let's look for the structures, Jurtakara and the Tropicana major Kundalini fault. Let's look for the right rock types, granite engines, no shortage of granites in Western Australia, and the known gold occurrence, the fertility. So we've got those. We've also got those in the Capital project, and we've just, which is just southwest of Goulburn. It's not in Canberra. That's a point to be noted. You do not want gold in Canberra because you would have trouble using the reagents in Canberra. They've got a local rule, no cyanide. Everywhere else in New South Wales you can use cyanide, and they do use it very successfully at all the big mines. South Wales is a sleeping giant. The Lake Cowal, I'll just call it Cowal because I don't think there's been a lake there for a while, but McPhillamys and all those deposits. And I believe we've got the old town of Bywong, and we've got a granite there, we've got a Hornfells, we've got known gold. Bywong produced about 1,500 ounces of chunky specimen gold. We're using those as an indicator that you'll find the Carlin type lodes. So, it's a boring story. We've got the same factors at all of our 4 locations. We've got rid of the old and we've brought in the new. We've got rid of Slate Dam, Beowulf and those.
Can you just touch on that a little bit? Like that, what drove you to that purchase, to that sales?
Yes, I'm stubborn, and I'll personalise this. I'm stubborn. I fell in love with Slate Dam. I purchased the resources at Trojan for a good price, and I spent almost 4 years beating that place up, and it beat me up. I did the airborne EM, I did surface geochem, I did 12,000 metres of drilling. I got all of the old drill core, rejuvenated it, reboxed it, and I think the people who bought it, Black Cat Syndicate, are going to give it a good home. And it was time for me to move on.
Yep.
The greatest award in geology is the patience, or just keeping on. Remember, Hemlo took 38 years to find. So, but there comes a time, and the time is very, very simply generated when you see that your market cap is your cash backing. You can see that everybody says, well, he's had a go at those, they're no good. Time to reinvent, move on. And that's what we did. So in October last year, we drilled after spending about $2 million on airborne EM, surface geochem access, the whole works. We spent all that money, didn't find the magic pudding. So time to move on, and it's not a new decision. We just hunted around for the best deal. We took a cash deal. We could have taken a futuristic shares and a little bit of cash. We opted to take the cash, also put the area with some very good people, very good geology, who've got the leases around. So it's a good package for the buyer. we got the right price. We got the maximum price we could, and we shopped it around for about 6 months. And we made the decision. It's got no strings attached, and that's just a badge of honour as far as I'm concerned. No, I think if you sell something, just sell it clean.
Yep.
Have a brand new, fresh start.
Absolutely. And as you know, drilling takes money. And rarely it's your first hole that is the mother lode, so to speak. Where's your current cash position, and will that fund your future drilling? As you said, like hopefully you'll be drilling this side of Christmas, but it may slip a little bit as well.
The major thing we've got now, at the end of the end of next week, we will have a cash position of cash and receivables of over $4 million. And that will be, currently we've got about 3.4 in the bank. We've got $500,000 coming in from Black Cat. We'll push it up then. I'm just signing off the R&D refund. We'll get $162,000 back on that this year, bringing a total to about $4.2 million over 10 years. So you can see all of the money we spend it about 1.6 times. So we've got $4 million. We run a lean ship. We've just appointed a new exploration manager. That will be, hopefully, we'll get him to sign the documents next week when he comes back from doing another job. So we're gearing up for that exploration. We will spend probably around about the $2 million a year. So you'll say, so you'll be gone in 2 years' time. We spend $2 million, but we'll get approximately 43% of that money back.
Through rebates.
So we're spending, in reality, somewhere around about $1.3 million a year. So we'll spend over 2 years about 2.6 money going out. And let's say we've got a little bit for running the company. So we are not come raised for about 2 years. And I would say also we've got 300 million Oppies out there, which are almost in the money.
Right.
They'll be cranking up at around about, when we get over one, they'll become fashionable. I am no longer the biggest shareholder, but we've got a new really strong backer with Steve Coppolis, and he's in there. And when you're down to $700,000, and then all of a sudden people offer you $3.5 million because you've got some new projects, I think that's a fairly strong tick.
Yep, and that's what I was driving at. Is it takes money and you're well funded, which is fantastic.
Yeah, well, we've got if those options, when those options are taken up, there's another 3 in the bank.
I get you.
I see one decent intersection and our market cap. My next goal in market cap's 50. The whole exercise here, sorry about shaking this table. The whole exercise here is market cap. So if you want my KPI, it's how much the shareholders' shares are worth. Absolutely. That is the driving exercise for this company. And my job is, if the shareholders are saying, Peter, your projects are no good, get better projects. You have to be so aware of what the shareholders are telling you. The shareholders are very important people, and being one of the major shareholders, we are to be listened to as well. So I take on board what the shareholders say. Sometimes a lot of people don't say much, but it's there in the market. It's just simply market cap.
Absolutely. Peter, thank you so much. I apologize, but we have to keep these interviews somewhat short and sharp. We could probably go on for another hour, and you have great stories, but I think that you explained it well, why we are going to find so much more gold in the next decade. Australia really is a place to be, so to speak. And then also, I like how you're very shareholder friendly and aware that there's a business side to the share price as well.
It's not very difficult, is it? It's not rocket surgery, as they say in the classics.
Absolutely. Peter, be well and please stay in touch.
Thank you very much, Greg. Thank you. And
Bye-bye.
I wish everybody well.
Thank you for watching another presentation by 180 Markets. Don't forget, if you want access to thousands of ASX capital raises, head on over to 180markets.com.au, sign up, and get on board for our very next capital raise. Thanks for watching.